Android 15 finally landed on my Xperia 1 Mark 6, and I want to give you a short introduction of what is new on Android 15 for the Xperia 1 Mark 6. So let's get started. As you see here, this is the brand new Android 15 version, comes also with the November security patches, so very, very new. What has changed there in terms of UI and interfaces, I think they slightly tweaked up the icons there, and they have a border now around the settings icon that I don't remember seeing before. So yeah, this might be new there. Otherwise, well, not much new in terms of the user interface or other applications. It's pretty much the same. The only thing they did do is update the camera application, and we finally got now the Pro Video features. And I think we should dig in what's new in here. So to make it a bit more easier to read, let's put a black interface. I just put it in on the ground here or on the couch. The Pro Video feature allows me to switch. You can see here we have the ISO, we have the exposure, aperture we cannot switch, and here in this mode, which is P mode, as you see, I cannot switch the shutter speed. I have the possibility to switch all lenses. You can see, of course, they have 60mm, 24, 48, 85 and 170mm, so they don't have this 1 times, 2 times kind of naming scheme here. They're using the professional ones. We have a level meter for the audio, and it's also telling me which kind of audio is used. And this indicates that the back-facing microphone that we have here is used, the mono mic basically. And let me go back into the portrait mode. The other things that we know already are here. We have a light that we can turn on. We can switch from the P mode, just like in the Photo Pro mode, to the shutter speed mode. This gives me then the option to set the shutter speed here freely to a value that I want to have, 160s for example, and I can still set the exposure, but I cannot set the ISO anymore. Aperture, of course not. But then I have also the manual mode, and in the manual mode I can set the shutter speed, the exposure and the ISO freely, just the way I want it. Then we have some other things like the FN button. If I hit the FN button, you will see that lots of functions are available here as well. And we have the possibility to switch from 4K to Full HD, for example. Or what I can also do by hitting the FN button is switch the frames per second. So let me go to 30 frames. I can switch the focus mode from continuous to manual focus. I can close this as well. I can turn on product showcase if I want to. I have the dynamic range option here, wide or standard. I have the microphone source that I can choose, so either rear or omnidirectional. I have face and eye detection that I can turn on there. I have the color profile, the standard, or I can also go to S-Cinetone, which I like very much. I can turn on HDR if I need to. I have auto white balance that I can set up here, or other white balances that I can set up. Then I have also the stabilization, high quality or standard that I can set up here. And I have focus speaking that I can turn on and off. So these are the functions that we have here. Very, very nicely done. Then we have a display button there. So let me put it there. If we have the display button and I press on the display button, I can hide all the elements there if I don't need it, don't want a distraction. Or I can show a level meter, as you see here, and even a histogram. So this is, I think, pretty much very useful depending on the situation. You can see the histogram is changing, and you see if you're overexposing or not, especially when you're like in a manual mode. So this is quite handy. That's it basically. There's a menu, of course, so where you can also set the resolution, the frame rate again, stabilization, and the mic. I don't sure why there's a menu option for this. They could just hide the menu because it's everything accessible here anyway. And that's it in terms of the Pro Video mode and of the new things on Android 15 for the Xperia 1 Mark 6. So it's a bit disappointing, especially that, or let's say it like this. It's good, but for a big Android upgrade and for the big Pro Video feature that they were shouting about, this is a bit like disappointing, because it's just, this should have been the day 1 or day 2 patch of the Xperia devices, it shouldn't have taken them so long until Android 15 to release this kind of update. Because what is missing is, for example, the possibility to tweak the volume of the microphone. That is especially useful, maybe not for the internal mics, but if you have external mics plugged in via the 3.5mm headphone jack or via USB Type-C, sometimes you need to tweak this. And now I have to tweak it in post because this doesn't allow me this anymore to set up the mic volume, a very useful feature in the Video Pro app. And I think some other things are also missing from the Video Pro app. I think, or was it the Cinema Pro app where you can set up focus points? So I have an A and B focus point. So if I'm in manual focus, I can just say, okay, slide from one to the other. And then you have the smooth focus pull or focus push that you can set up. This is something that is missing here as well from the Pro Video feature. So it's a bit of a cut down Pro Video feature. Nevertheless, let's see how well it looks like with S-Cinetone enabled and shutter speed, shutter rule, setup, and so on. Let's check it out here to see if they improved anything in terms of videography. So now I'm recording with the Xperia 1 Mark 6 and using the Pro Video feature of the Photo Pro app, this one can record everything with fixed settings. So I have a 180-degree shutter rule here, 1/60th of a second setup here, as well as ISO set to fixed 640. Because it's a bit of a gloomy, darker day and I'm indoors here for that reason, because it is raining cats and dogs outside. I'm walking just a little bit there. You can see stabilization always was great on the Xperia devices, and this one here is not an improvement, but it's just definitely not a downgrade with this one. It's just like when I move a bit too quickly, the 1/60th of a second, you will see probably some motion blur going on, which is like intended, but on the other phone you didn't see it at all. So the only thing that I'm missing out here is definitely the microphone. I have set the microphone now to 1000%, I think, boost in my video editing application, which is the most I can do. And when I set the original one, you probably don't hear anything because it's so quiet. So this is one of the downsides here. Using the external mic, at least the Saramonic Blink 500, but also some other external mics that I tried already, they have the volume just way too low there. And because you don't have the configuration again for setting up the volume for the mic anymore, on the Pro mode of the video at least, this is a huge downer. I really hope that Sony can improve it and will give us this feature as well. Hopefully they don't take until Android 16 to give us this feature, and they will provide not only security updates monthly, but at one point also some feature updates for those devices as well. I know they are doing some bug fixes for their camera applications as well sometimes, but bug fixes are not the same as adding some new features. I would like to have them to add some new features also regarding the camera application and give us this as well for the Xperia 1 Mark 6. We don't want to wait for the 1 Mark 7 to get such little nice features that are very, very handy, and there's nothing speaking against it being implemented on the 1 Mark 6 as well, because especially with the dedicated Video Pro app that somehow worked. I didn't test it out on the Android 15 platform. On the Xperia 1 Mark 6, where you can set up the volume for the mic, it makes a lot of sense to just get this feature built into the Photo Pro app as well. So what do you think about this one? This is my short little overview of the Xperia 1 Mark 6 that now got finally the Android 15 upgrade with the new Pro Video feature, which is used right now. So what do you think about this one here? 4K 30 recording. That's it. Until the next time. Bye.